This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from April 12th to April 14th of 2024. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now, the craziest thing that I saw this weekend didn't really happen abroad. It happened domestically, within MLS. We actually saw Patrick Mahomes, NFL superstar, very well known in the United States, very famous, tremendous player. Not so famous abroad, though. We can get to that later in a live stream or some other time. He told Lionel Messi to go have fun out there, as if Messi is like a 16-year-old soccer player getting ready for his high school soccer match. I don't know, man. Just telling Messi to go have fun out there, it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, after all, he is among one of the greatest athletes of all time, if not the greatest soccer player of all time. But anyhow, that's nothing to do with this specific series. So let's get to it. Drop a like if you haven't already, and let's start the recap. But before we even start the recap, help us hit 1,000 likes in this video for no reason, just because I asked. Okay, let's roll the intro and start the Americans Abroad recap. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe, the first one being the English Premier League. With that said, why don't we talk about two players at once? And they are Gio Reyna and Matt Turner from Nottingham Forest. And on Saturday, Gio Reyna got his first English Premier League start for Nottingham Forest, and he played 71 minutes during their 2-2 draw with Wolves. Well, once you look at that, it took Nuno Espírito Santo long enough to finally start Gio Reyna. And based on this performance, Gio Reyna should 100% be a starter for this team. They looked far better in possession and in the final third with Gio and Morgan Gibbs-White on the field. Gio Reyna played very well. He wasn't perfect, but he had a good game. I would give him a solid 7.5 out of 10. He was calm and composed on the ball. He plays a right winger, but he was tucked inside quite a bit. He almost scored also in 2 occasions, and he set up Nico Williams twice down the right side of the field. One for a good shot and another was for a cross, but Williams screwed both plays. Regardless, Gio still got an assist this match off a corner where he provided a great cross for Morgan Gibbs-White himself to score off a header to tie the game in the last minute of the first half. We have known this for a while, and I am going to continue to beg Greg Berhalter to let Gio Reyna take set pieces for the US Men's National Team. That's how he got the assist in the Premier League for Morgan Gibbs-White right there. Pulisic is a great player, fantastic player. He's just not good at set pieces, and Gio Reyna is actually really good at set pieces, and he should be taking corners, free kicks for the US Men's National Team from here forward. And I'm seriously begging Greg Berhalter to do it during the Copa America. Now, if there's anything I can criticize Gio in regards to this performance, is that I wish he took more risks to make things happen. But that'll come with time as he gets more minutes and gets more confidence to play for Nottingham Forest. And I'm assuming this performance has earned him more minutes. As for Matt Turner, he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Nottingham Forest this match. And listen, Turner was benched a while back, rightfully so. But Sells, the current goalkeeper, isn't very good, man. I'm just saying. I don't think Turner is their savior. On the contrary, I think they need a better goalkeeper. But clearly, Sells wasn't really an upgrade from Matt Turner. The next American would have been Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, but unfortunately he's dealing with an injury and he's still not available for them. He's still expected to be back this month in April. So let's skip Chris Richards and go to Austin Trusty from Sheffield United. And on Saturday, Trusty started and played the full 90 minutes for Sheffield during their 2-0 loss to Brentford in the English Premier League. Look, I ain't watching Brentford versus Sheffield. Contrary to popular belief, I have a little bit of a life outside of soccer. Like, very little of a life. But I do actually have a life outside of soccer. It's just minimal. And I'll say this, Trusty was the lowest rated Sheffield player on FootMob, for whatever that's worth. If you watched the game, let us know in the comment section down below, how did Austin Trusty do against Brentford in the Premier League this weekend? Next up, we have the Fulham boys, Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream. And on Sunday, Robinson started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 2-0 win over West Ham. As for Tim Ream, he didn't make the bench for Fulham, and there were no reports of an injury, so I don't really know what's going on there. I'll have an update on Ream next Monday or during the week if you follow us on X and Instagram, so go follow us there if you don't already. Last but not least in the Premier League, we have Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. And Tyler Adams was not available once again, but his coach provided us with an injury update. He said it's a muscle injury. He didn't really make it clear if it's actually the back or the hamstrings, even though the back and hamstring muscles are kind of connected, so there's that. But he did say that it's not serious, and Tyler Adams could even be back next weekend, which means I would expect him to be back at latest at the end of April. We'll see. Maybe they shouldn't really have given him so many minutes right away after being out for 12 months, but it is what it is. Hopefully he's back this month. But I do want to say one thing again. When I was concerned about the travel and minutes that he was going to play with the U.S. men's national team and all the minutes that Bournemouth gave him right away after international break, they played him the full 90 minutes, I was a hater. But the reality was I was not a hater. I was just a concerned dad, even though I'm not Tyler Adams' father or anyone's father as far as I know. Okay, we're done with the Premier League players. Now let's go to the Americans that play in the first division of Italy, the Italian Serie A. The first two being Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa from Milan. And on Sunday, Musa started and played 55 minutes for Milan during their 3-3 draw with Sassuolo. As for Christian Pulisic, he was being rested for their midweek clash against Roma in the Europa League. So he started off the bench and was sent in around minute 65. So how did the Americans do? Yunus Musa was meh. That's the way I'm going to describe his performance. He wasn't awful. It was just like most of his performances this season. He was just there. And, he doesn't really do much for the better or for the worse. He did get an assist, but let's be honest. He just made a simple pass, and then Rafael Leão had to still blow by two defenders and hit a great shot from mid-range. What am I trying to say here? Am I trying to take away his assist? No, he got an assist, and it will count. But it was an assist. Not all assists are the same. There are some plays that even the hockey assist, the pass before the assist is more important than the assist itself. And this was one of those cases where the assist was just an assist and Rafael Leão kind of did everything after. Yunus Musa ended up being subbed out right after Sassuolo scored their third goal, getting a 3-1 lead. Now, Christian Pulisic was sent in the final 25 minutes or so when Milan was down 3-2 at the time. And he didn't really play a direct role on Milan's goal to tie the game, but he looked dangerous down the right side of the field multiple times. Most of Milan's offense was actually going through Pulisic down the right flank in the final 15 minutes. It just seemed like Pulisic was missing that final ball. He got close to scoring once after a good combination play down the right side. He also got close to getting an assist 2 or 3 times, but he was just lacking that final pass and finishing, almost as if he had tired legs. But you know what? Honestly, this dude does need some rest. He's played a lot of minutes this season, and that's probably even why he was coming off the bench this weekend. But I thought Pulisic was good in the 25 minutes that he played. He had an overall good performance. But what's funny is that Milan kept wasting penalty kicks left and right, and then Pioli decided to make Christian Pulisic the designated penalty kick taker in February. And guess what? They haven't gotten a penalty kick called in their favor since. So they had a lot of penalties earlier in the season, and they were very wasteful, including Olivier Giroud. And then as soon as they made Christian Pulisic the designated penalty kick taker so he can start stat padding, well, they didn't get it anymore. It's just our luck. With that said, this game was fantastic. 3-3 draw, very good game. Even though Sassuolo is a relegation battle team, they made it really tough for Milan, and they pulled a 3-3 draw, which is a really good result for them. But this game was the complete opposite of the Juventus game, because Juventus has a soccer terrorist in charge named Allegri. So let's go to Juve and talk about Weston McKennie and Tim Weah. And on Saturday, Weston McKennie started and played the full 90 minutes for Juventus during their 0-0 draw in the derby against Torino. And boy, was this a shit derby. It was so bad to watch. It wasn't fun at all. And I swear, man, Juventus is such an awful watch under Allegri. It's painful to see a team with so many great players consistently play with the goal of not losing. They will literally prioritize a 0-0 draw just to not lose. They won't risk getting a 1-0 win or 2-0 win, whatever, their goal is to not lose, even if by that you're going to get a 0-0 draw. So overall, I think Allegri was happy with this result. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I would honestly take an MLS or USL match over watching Juventus. When it comes to entertainment, it's better. Sure, Juventus' level is far ahead of those, and Juventus would win MLS every single season, but they're just painful to watch. As for Weston McKennie, he was okay. He didn't play poorly. He also didn't have a great performance. He was average. And Tim Weah got 0 minutes this match for the second consecutive weekend. Now, before we continue, a quick word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, so I can pay rent this month. We'll be back in a minute. And you can drop a like in this video if you haven't already. And thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring Tactical Manager TV. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, or football as well. But we don't talk about those two in Tactical Manager TV. Sometimes basketball during live watch-alongs. I have been playing Underdog Fantasy for over a year now. You can download the app by using the link on the description of this video, and you can also use the promo code TMTV. And Underdog will be matching your first deposit for up to $100. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel avoid bankruptcy. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. You just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for a specific match and select the stats that you believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about your picks because it's not easy to win. I'll be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams or match live watch-alongs, so stay tuned for that, as I will be forced to cheer for a player or root against him. Now, I am a professional hater, so I'll probably be rooting for the player's downfall. Once again, don't forget to use the promo code TMTV and use the link on the description of this video. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring the channel. Okay, now time for the Americans that play in Germany in the Bundesliga, the first one being Brenden Aaronson from Union Berlin. And on Friday, Brenden started and played the full 90 minutes for Union Berlin during their 2-0 loss to Augsburg. I half watched this game because it was around the same time Johnny was playing, and I was mainly focused on that game. But in my opinion, based on what I saw, Brenden Aaronson was looking very good. He was not getting bullied on the ball, winning most of his 50-50 duels, taking on defenders, had a shot or two blocked. I didn't watch every single second of this game, but I will say it again. From what I saw, Brenden played well once again. He has been good for Union Berlin, at least for the past 3 to 4 weeks. After Brenden, we have John Anthony Brooks from Hoffenheim. And on Saturday, John Brooks started off the bench and was subbed in around minute 60 for Hoffenheim during their 4-1 loss to Mainz. When Brooks was subbed in, they were down just 2-1. Next up, we have Pifak and Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And on Saturday, both Scally and Pifak were not in the starting 11 for Gladbach during their 2-1 loss to Borussia Dortmund. Joe Scally stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes, while Pifak was subbed in the 75th minute and then was subbed out at the 85th minute due to an injury. Also, a quick update on Pifak. Gladbach will not activate the buy clause of his loan, which means, as of now, Pifak will be back with Union Berlin this summer. So let's move on to the next player, and the next player is Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg. And on Saturday, Kevin Paredes was back from injury, but he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Wolfsburg during their 3-0 loss to Leipzig. Last but not least, in Germany, we have Leonard Maloney from Heidenheim. And on Saturday, Maloney started and played the full 90 minutes for Heidenheim during their 1-1 draw with Bochum. Not a bad season for the newly promoted team that currently sits in 10th place. A great season from Maloney as well, as he has been a key player for them. Now that we are done with Germany, let's go to Spain and talk about the two Americans that played there because they clashed over the weekend, or kind of clashed. Celta de Vigo and Real Betis faced each other over the weekend, so we had a Luca de la Torre versus Johnny Cardoso match. But Luca de la Torre didn't play. And on Friday, Johnny started and played the full 90 minutes for Real Betis during their 2-1 win over Celta de Vigo. Luca de la Torre is apparently fit and healthy, but he wasn't back with Celta de Vigo this weekend yet. He should be back next weekend. Since we have nothing to say about Luca, let's talk about how Johnny did. And Johnny was fantastic. He started alongside Guido Rodriguez, and he was the best performer of the two. He was calm and composed on the ball, press resistant, protected the back line very well through his positioning and interceptions. Johnny was among the best performers of Real Betis this match, probably only worse than, I would say, Isco and Bellerin. Outside of that, Johnny was probably their third or fourth best performer. And listen, if you are a loyal US men's national team abroad viewer, I'm going to tell you this, and this will just stay between us. I know it's kind of public because it's on YouTube, but not many people, well, a lot of people watch this video, but not all US men's national team fans watch these videos. And this is what I'll say. There were clubs from Italy and England that have inquired about Johnny Cardoso already. They asked Real Betis how much they want for him and if there's a possibility of a release clause, if he has a release clause. Johnny doesn't really want to leave this summer, but at this rate, he probably won't be there past the summer of 2025. Well, I guess that's not really a secret anymore. With that said, make sure to drop a like in this video if you haven't already. After Spain, we were going to go to France. However, Monaco didn't play this weekend, so I have nothing to say about Floating Balogun. He got some rest, and he probably needs it, and hopefully next weekend he's back to scoring because he's been having an extremely inconsistent season. Now it's time to talk about the Americans that play in the Netherlands, and I'm actually going to talk about all of them at once. And they will be the PSV boys and Paxton Aronson, because PSV and Vitesse clashed over the weekend. And if you don't know who the PSV boys are by now, they are Ricardo Pepi, Serginho Dest, and Malik Tillman, but you should have known that already. And on Saturday, Tillman and Dest both started for PSV during their 6-0 win over Vitesse. And yes, Vitesse is ass. And this big ass sits in last place in the Eredivisie. And this is one big ass. They're really bad. This was a 6-0 win, and this was one of the worst teams I've seen in Europe in a long time. Serginho Dest played the full 90 minutes, and he was just toying around with the Vitesse defense. The goal scored by Malik Tillman was off a rebound from a close range shot, originated from a great play and cross by Serginho Dest down the left flank. So spoiler alert right there, Tillman scored. He played 62 minutes this match and scored once again. Malik Tillman right now has 7 goals and 9 assists in the Eredivisie this season with just 1,252 minutes played. That is a goal contribution every 78 minutes. Quick reminder that he's on a loan and he currently belongs to Bayern Munich. I don't think he's a Bayern level player, but I do think he could easily play in the Bundesliga for a mid-table team. As for Paxton Aronson, he started and played the full 90 minutes for Vitesse, and he tried. He tried for them, but this team is just not good. Lucky for Paxton, he's on a loan from Eintracht Frankfurt. Oh, what about Ricardo Pepi? Where's Pepi? Well, for the second consecutive weekend after his agent complained about his playing time, he didn't even make the bench. The reports say he's not fit, but who knows at this point. He was also seen in a fashion event in Paris, a fashion event with some terrible outfits, I must say, which I guess it's almost every single fashion event these days, in my humble opinion. The United States of America jersey that he was wearing was fine, and it sort of teased us that Ricardo Pepi might go to the Olympics, but the other outfits were awful. Oh, and by the way, don't be surprised if Pepi ends up left out of the Copa America roster and he plays the Olympics for the United States instead. And understand, I'm not affirming that is going to happen. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if it does. Don't be surprised if Pepi does not go to the Copa America and plays in the Olympics instead. I think there's a real possibility that will be the case. Now we're going to head back to England to talk about the Americans that play in the second division of England at the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Saturday, Sargent started and pretty much played the full 90 minutes for Norwich as he was subbed out in added time during their 1-0 win over Preston North End. Sargent didn't score, but this was a crucial win for Norwich as they get closer and closer to qualify for the EFL Championship playoffs. The winner of the playoffs gets promoted to the English Premier League. If you don't know, seeds 3 through 6 go to the playoffs to fight for one spot in the English Premier League, while the top 2 teams during the regular season get promoted directly. After Sargent, we have Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji Wright started and played the full 90 minutes for Coventry during their 3-0 loss to Birmingham City. Coventry no longer has a shot on getting promoted, which is unfortunate for Haji Wright, as he truly had a fantastic season. With a few games left, he currently has 15 goals and 6 assists this season with 40 matches played. Last but not least in England, we have Ethan Horvath from Cardiff City. That is actually from Wales, the country. On Saturday, Horvath started and played the full 90 minutes for Cardiff City during their 3-1 loss to Millwall. Still in the United Kingdom, we have Cameron Carter-Vickers that plays for Celtic in Scotland. And on Saturday, Carter-Vickers started and played the full 90 minutes for Celtic during their 3-0 win over St. Mirren. And I heard from a very reliable source that Carter-Vickers had a monster performance. He was tremendous for them, and they got this 3-0 win. But again, I think his level is above the Scottish League, and I honestly think he should seek a move. He's far too dominant there. He is arguably the best center back in Scotland, and he should probably move to a tougher league, but it doesn't look like he's going to leave Celtic anytime soon, if ever. All right, now we've reached the final section of the video, which is the Americans that play in Mexico in Liga MX. The first one being Alejandro Zendejas from Club America. And on Saturday, Zendejas started and played the full 90 minutes for Club America during their 5-1 win over Toluca. This was a massive win because Club America now stands in first place in Liga MX and Toluca is in second, and they got a 5-1 win. This is pretty big. After Zendejas, we have Cade Cowell from Chivas Guadalajara. And on Saturday, Cade Cowell started off the bench and was sent in the 79th minute for Chivas during their 1-0 win over Pachuca. Cade Cowell has 1 goal with 13 matches played in Mexico, which is not good, but somewhat on par with his MLS career. Lastly, we have Brendan Vasquez from Monterrey. And on Saturday, Vasquez started and played 70 minutes for Monterrey during their 3-3 draw with Tigres. No goal for Vasquez, but he did score a goal during the midweek against Inter Miami, thanks to a bizarre moment from the Inter Miami goalkeeper, Drake Callender, while playing out of the back, where he just kind of gifted Brendan Vasquez with a goal. Yeah, man, MLS teams trying to play out of the back is a nightmare for the MLS teams. The opponent loves it. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you made it this far in the video. Thank you everyone that's been joining our Patreon as well. And thank you for all the support, especially if you made it this far in the video because this is a long video. I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.